everyone, and welcome to the Circle. It's July 21st, 2016, and we have a return guest today. We have our panelists, Catherine Harris and Mary Beth Lord, and Shelley Evans. And our return guest is Penelope Toribio, and she is a puppeteer, author, photographer, singer, songwriter, educator, and we got so many good comments the last time. And the last time we did this, I asked her, how do you start? So that's where I'd like to start. How do you start this stuff?
Thank you so much for having me back on. I noticed when I went back there that you asked that several times, and I didn't quite answer it. And the reason why is it's kind of complex, because the first thing you have to answer is why? Why? And the reason why you have to ask what your reason to become a puppeteer is, one, you have to be courageous. Courageous. You have to trust yourself, and you have to work. So puppetry is not easy. Did you know that they did brain research on puppetry?
No.
It shows that it lights up your entire brain. Because let's say this hand puppet, I have to be thinking about what I'm doing, what I'm saying, how I'm moving this puppet, what he's saying, what his voice is saying, and the message that I want to get out with that puppet. So you're lighting all aspects of your brain. So they're showing that you actually develop your brain by doing puppetry,
well,
especially young children.
Child development, right?
It is incredible. And, you know, I saw yesterday another little show that was saying that gesturing helps children develop. If you let them gesture when they talk, but it's hard to teach gesturing. It's easier to teach puppetry. So I want to tell you what my why is. What I'm advocating is total integration of art, music, artful activities in the classroom for better thinking, better learning, and better living. So this is my reason, and I have two reasons that I can talk about this. But first I want to ask you guys, what if you went to work every single day of your life and they told you you were failing? What if they told you you were inferior to your coworkers? And here's the ticket. You could never, ever quit. You couldn't quit your job.
I would be very depressed.
Now, pretend you are a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, and it never changes. And you can never leave that classroom. Now, we talk about children and teens that are troubled, and we say it's social, emotional, a social, economic problem. I truly believe it is a system that is heartless system. And I want to tell you something. I want to read you something. This was written by me when I was 12. Because I was a failing student. At that time, we didn't know about dyslexia, so I was just supposed to be stupid. I'm 12 years old, and it says, what's your 5-year plan? I would like to be a secretary on a travel boat. I'm not too smart, so I probably won't get any honors, but I will try. And it says, what's your strategy? Stop goofing off, settle down, and work hard. I don't know how I'm going to do it. There are 13 spelling errors and grammar errors in this one article. Now, how do you think the teacher looked at that person? What would they think? I was 12. I want to tell you one other thing. And that was, when I was 12, my mother threw gasoline on a fire that she thought was out, light the stove we had in our living room, and she was burned over 90% of her body. So this 12-year-old became the mother of 4 young children, my younger brothers and sisters, for almost a year. No teacher ever said anything to me. No principal. No one. Do we have a heartless, and things have not changed. We have a heartless school.
Mm-hmm.
So I was failing. I failed my way into high school, and I was failing in high school, and something happened when I was 17 years old. And something happened when I was 17 that told me I wasn't dumb. I was so upset. Not one teacher had ever told me that I had any potential. Nobody ever showed me any of this. So I decided right then that I was going to become a teacher, and I was going to help every one of my students find the jewels within inside themselves. I decided to do that. And I had to work very hard because I was very behind in all subject areas. I naturally had to go to junior college. I couldn't get into 4-year college. And I got a credential in communication arts, credential in English, and a credential in special ed, and a master's in behavior transformation. And I got my first job. I did some teaching, but I got my first job in special ed. And I have to read this to you because it'll show you why I have gone in, particularly to puppetry. This is a journal from my class on my second day. It was 9/11. Jaylene, Chris, and Jeremiah came off the bus fighting. 8:30 a.m. and my room was trashed. All 3 kids were cussing, throwing things. Oh, this is 1st to 3rd grade, by the way, and throwing things and hitting each other. I couldn't get the students' attention enough to calm them down. Jaylene and Jeremiah were finally taken into the timeout room, which is a boarded room. During lunchtime, I was in the teacher's lounge when Patty, my aide, rushed in announcing that Jaylene had run off campus. She crossed the busy street and climbed the 3-story firefighters' practice building. It's a cement building where they lit up fires so they could practice saving people. It had windows but no glass or screens. When I arrived, Jaylene was standing in the window of the 3rd story. She had a belt around her throat like a noose and was threatening to jump. The firefighters were looking up at her, but they were not saving her. People were yelling at her to get out of the window. I ran up the stairs wondering whether I should grab her or try to talk her out of the window. I calmly said, "I think we should talk about this." And she said, "Fuck you." I calmly said, "Oh yeah." I ran and I grabbed her. I had no idea this was a good idea. My heart was trembling as I briefly looked down. The firefighters and half a dozen staff were looking at me. "Jaylene," I said calmly, "you're not supposed to leave the campus without permission." The principal ordered Jaylene.
Kill yourself.
The principal ordered Jaylene to the timeout room. While I was in with Jaylene, Christopher was crying and running around the room. Then he scratched Frances, another aide, leaving a scratch on her arm. Chris was taken to the timeout room. Adrian was fine. They're going to try to get him a more appropriate placement. Jaylene is suspended from school until Friday. The rest of the kids were agitated. I'm feeling a bit of a failure, and this is the 2nd day of school.
Oh, my heavenly days. Oh.
This is the 2nd day of school. So the reason I'm reading this to you is because I really started using art and music, and particularly puppetry, in this classroom to try to get to these kids. And a few years ago, I ran across that girl, Jaylene, and she wrote me a wonderful letter. I'm not going to read all of it to you, but she remembered almost every project we did in art, music, puppetry, and dance.
Wow.
So she finally said, they all call me Mrs. T. Mrs. T has a heart to teach in school, and we as people need to get art back into the schools all over the world. I know when I had a class, it helped me to calm my nerves, and it was fun. School was a lot of, school have a lot of kids, in school kids, a lot of kids are bored because all they do is hard work, and they never have a class where they can go and have fun and learn at the same time. And when you have so many kids that are bored in school, there's a tendency to get in trouble. Sincerely, Shailene. So I wanted to tell you that it's not just art and music. It is art, music, and activities combined with specific behavioral objectives. Because when somebody is acting up, it is a habit. Have you ever tried to break a habit, Linda?
Yes.
Is it easy?
No.
Is it easy? It's not easy to break a habit.
No.
So telling somebody they're doing something bad or that it's not good for them doesn't work. It has to be not on the short term. It has to be done on the long term, in the long-term level. So I just wanted to tell you that I had a why, that this was my why that I started. And see, with art and music, it tends to be a project, right? A little project. Puppetry is long-term. Puppetry involves everything that you have in theater. It can involve, can have acting, directing, scenery, music, choreography, video and or film, and
Dialogue.
dialogue. Yes, dialogue. And if you do puppetry, usually you can include puppet making, the history of puppetry, because it's a huge field. It's not a short field. There are many times, and as I spoke last time, puppetry in the United States, we tend to make it like having a little happy creature sing, dance to ABC. But that really isn't the way puppetry is all over the world. And as I mentioned last time, puppetry was outlawed in Myanmar when I first started working with puppets because of the power of puppets. Then here's the other thing, teaching with puppets, which is a little bit different than the behavioral objectives. I mean, it's kind of the same, but so if I told you, I'd like you to open your book to page 98, we're going to learn about pi. We're going to learn about pi, which is a ratio, 9.14159. We're going to learn about pi. Pi? I love pi. No, not kind of that pie. Not that kind of pie. What kind of pie? Pie, P-I, not P-I-E. Pie. And so all of a sudden, we got attention to this subject matter, and now we know that we don't spell it P-I, we don't spell it P-I-E, we spell it pie, and this is the important thing. If the class isn't getting it, or some of the students aren't getting it, and you repeat it to them several times, you're telling to you, when are you guys going to learn this thing? But if he doesn't get it 3 or 4 times, it doesn't matter, because you're telling this guy he's not learning. You're not telling the kids they're not learning.
Right.
You get that? That little shift. It's just a shift. That is one of the most important things of a behavior, like if somebody was acting up, taking something from somebody else. Hey, Bugsy, did you take Aaron's eraser? Really? Everybody said they saw it. So you can go through the whole process of what could he do, what if he wanted an eraser, what alternative behaviors. And you don't have to do Aaron. You don't have to go with the kid. You can shift it from them. So that's another good reason for puppetry, is teaching your message. I do a lot of ecological musicals. And I'm going to show you my first puppet that I made. It's from the rainforest. And basically, I do a lot of, that's where I do a lot of festival. And I bring the kids, I set up either a rainforest scene or a ocean scene, a dinosaur scene, how not to become extinct is the theme, or a space scene because we're trashing our outer space. Mm-hmm. And you can give your message, and it's fun. And I bring the kids up to do the puppets. And sometimes the adults, if they're really large puppet, I'll bring the adults. So they're up there, and we're all learning about the importance of children and teens being a part of the solution to the problems of our, and it's, it's fun. So I want to talk about making puppets. Fur is very forgiving. So this is like the first puppet I ever made. And his name is Slowy, and he's a sloth, and he's from the rainforest. Now, one of the reasons that...
Very cute.
Thank you. I like you too. Yeah, you're cute. So one of the reasons that puppetry is difficult is that professional, good puppetry is written puppetry. It's not just dancing, not just dancing to music, which is what a lot of the puppets were doing with toddlers. Now, believe me, I feel that children, even toddlers, can learn to write. Writing, one of our language problems is using writing for everything. We use writing for printing, we use writing for handwriting, we use writing for spelling, we use that word. But composing, I'm going to change it to composing so that even if you can't spell, you can't punctuate, you can compose, and you can do it nowadays. You can record to keep it, or you can tell somebody else, or you can memorize what you're doing. But good puppetry has writing. So here's his song. You want to hear his song? It's from the rainforest, and this kid goes with his parents are both soil scientists, and they have gone to the rainforest in order to check out the soil because they're ruining the soil by cutting down the trees. And the soil is so thin in the rainforest that if you cut and burn down the trees, the rain comes and washes it away, and it won't grow back for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. So this is why it's very important. So this is built into this musical. So I had him climb up, and he meets a sloth and Slowy. And so he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you." "Oh, that's all right. And what are you anyway?" "I'm a three-toed tree sloth. I'm relatively hard to see. I live my life clinging to a limb in a rainforest canopy. I move so awfully, terribly slow. Moss grows all over me. That's why I'm green from head to toe and blend into the leaves. If I had wings, I could fly above the emergent trees. Way up there, there's a blue, blue sky as far as you can see. And I've heard tales about a golden sun and a moon of silver blue. But I don't have wings and I move too slow. So what's this sloth to do?" And it goes on. It's a little longer about the kid decides to take him down onto the forest floor. And they go and meet a bunch of animals and learn about the ecology and some of the issues of, like the jaguar sings, "I've got the nearly extinct blues." So you can get your messages across, and instead of being like modern scientists and modern politicians who are saying, "Look, it may be too late. It just may be too late. We might not be able to save." Now, let's say you're me. what if I think it's too late? Am I going to do anything? No.
Too late.
I'm going to pull in. I'm going to protect my family, and I am not going to take any risks. So threat, and in behavior transformation, threat may move you out of an area temporarily, but you're going to go right back into it. For example, I mean, when we had our last drought in California, we're in a drought now, but we had a drought before. So everybody did this, and we stopped watering, and we didn't flush the toilets unless it was brown, So, and as soon as it didn't look like, it didn't look like we were in a drought anymore, we all went back doing exactly. So it's not transformative. It may change your behavior, limited, but it's not transformative. So in working with people, you have to do it with joy and fun. And then what I was trying to do is to say, you can make your own show. You can find your own issues for improving our world. And it'll be more fun and more effective way of transformation. So basically, I've started now. My why is because I want to see a change in our schools, a total integration of art and music into our schools, and to be teaching with heart and more fun. And believe me, one of the habits, did you know this, guys? Imagining is a habit. Using your imagination is a habit. Many of us outgrow that habit. Most children imagine, but we kind of get out of the habit. So teaching our children how to be imaginative, how to use their imagination, will allow them to make the inventions that we need to create a better world. So, okay.
Well, I want to interrupt for a second, because you just said something that was really important, which triggered something for me, because Einstein did thought experiments. He would imagine what it was like to ride a wave of light and focus on that in his head. And that was how he saw that light was a stream of particles. So he did all of these thought experiments on cosmic stuff. And so I think you're right, because children have to be taught to imagine and to be creative.
It's true. It's not, they kind of outgrow it. So we have to keep that theme. You're exactly right. Keep that theme. Which, by the fact, can you see the puppets that I have in the background? Can you see them? Yeah. Okay, so over here is Nassim Haramein. I made him. He's made up of oven clay and wooden dowels.
And he's a physicist, so just tell people who may not know.
He's made of particles, right?
Yeah, he's made of particles. Next to him on this side is Einstein, but this wasn't really an Einstein puppet. I found one that looked like a scientist, and I stuck this wild feathery hair on it. And in context of saying that this is Einstein, he's believable, right? Right? And this is his daughter, Lasso, which he wrote the most beautiful letter to her that talks about love being the most powerful force in not understanding that force in our uniform, that we really do not understand his force. I'm looking forward to doing this little thing about this letter, because you will be amazed. This letter has been a secret for 40 years. He said, don't tell anybody. This is a most like a secret message to when they're ready to hear. When they're ready to hear, then you can give this letter. He left Lysol in Germany, and then he came over to the United States. So he was apologizing for leaving her and telling her this secret that he wanted her not to tell until people were ready to hear it. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
She's from Czechoslovakia, and he is too. He's a teacher. He's going to be Nassim's teacher, who is very resistant to letting Nassim think about physics in the classroom. So he's going to be his teacher. These are beautiful, beautiful puppets, but they weren't made by puppeteers. So one of the things I'm going to do in my workshops, I'm going to start doing some puppetry, show you how to make puppets. But one of the things I'm going to do is show you that you can't keep, if they're art pieces, in order to make them work, you have to transform them. So both of these are waiting to be transformed into real moving puppets, but they're beautifully made and they're very, very beautiful. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about making puppets. So what if you're not working with children, so you don't need to do the behavioral objective things, and you're not teaching children, so you don't do so much the message thing. I will tell you how I start my workshops with teens and youths. So I say, how many here would like to make between $125 and $5,000 an hour? Anybody interested? Anybody out there? Well,
takers, I think.
What? You got some takers?
I think you'd have a few takers.
Yeah, a few takers. For teens and for youths, they can make more money by doing one puppet show that runs 45 minutes than they can make 4 or 5 days of work, right?
Wow.
At art. So that's of interest. And let me just tell you how that happens, what that one is. Woo. So I'm out of town, and I mistakenly didn't bring my dinosaur puppets. And I wanted to bring them because I wanted to use this as a theme. But so I'm going to have to fake it with blue. Hi, guys. Okay, so you are going to do a puppet show at a birthday party. Well, what do I do? What do I do? So you get a theme, and I'm going to do one of the themes that I used, which was dinosaur puppets, dinosaurs. Do you know kids like dinosaurs? Young kids like dinosaurs. So I'm going to pretend that dinosaurs are being invited to a kid's birthday party. And I'd like you to pretend too. Okay, now take a deep breath. Blow it out. Count back from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now, what do you think that dinosaur might do at a birthday party? What do you think? Break the balloons? Yeah, could break the balloons. Ruin the cake? Yeah, ruin the cake. Eat the boys and girls? Okay, so here it is. Now, I did it as a song, but you could also do it without music. Hey, we are dinosaurs. We never been to a birthday party before because we were not invited. That's why we're so excited. We didn't really know how to act. That's the truth and that's a fact. So we asked Mom for advice. She said, don't tease, don't bite, don't bust all these balloons. Don't sing the birthday song out of tune. Don't stomp or you'll break a toy. And do not eat the girls and boys. Don't eat the birthday girl. Don't eat the birthday girl. Don't eat the birthday girl. And it goes on. So you're always working on the imagination. You put them together, and then your mind loves rhyme. Let's all say that.
Your
mind loves rhymes. The one thing that I teach from the very beginning, from the 3-year-olds to the 22-year-olds to the 102-year-olds. Your mind loves rhymes. So I teach always to think about rhymes. And then you can put these rhymes together. And for puppetry, it's like perfect. Whether or not you put it to a melody or you say it as just a kind of like a poem or something. So I use rhyme, imagining as much as you can, as wildly as you can. And we just put it on the board like, just like a list of things to do. Or you can, if it's you, because I do the same thing, I write all the things. I take my topic. What did I do about the sloth? What I knew he was green. I found out that bugs live in the hair of the one of the kids' favorite songs I've ever written is called Bugs. And I'm talking about writing because what I don't think people understand is puppetry is 80% writing. And if it's 80% writing and you teach them how to write for puppetry, how do you think it affects the rest of their writing?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any teachers said, I want you to go home and write an essay, write a story?
Yeah.
And you go, what? How do I write a story? They don't teach you how to write a story. How do you write a story? So you pick up any kind of puppet, and the great thing is you're not just saying, you're saying we're going to write about this chimpanzee. Now, what do we know about the chimpanzee? Actually, I did this. His chimpanzee song, I was in a second grade, and we wrote down everything we could think about as a chimpanzee, and then tried to bring it down into a song, usually using rhyme. So this is one of the steps in. And then this one, I have to tell you, I'm going to move you out of that one and show you that he's in the space musicals. You see he's in his NASA outfit? You see his NASA?
That's so cute.
So in my show, he's called Elvis. This is Elvis. And he goes, I gotta sing you this heavy metal song because something's not right. Something's going wrong. There's trash in the ocean, the trash on the ground, trash in outer space going round and round and round. Heavy metal, ooh, heavy metal, ooh, heavy metal. Just because you can't see it from down here doesn't mean what we left up there all disappears. I've been there. I've been scared. It's a nightmare video place up there. Ah! And it goes on. So what I'm basically telling you, you can see that it's fun, but it's work, right? It's fun, but it's work, and it's develops your brain. And if working with puppets, which is over a longer period of time, a puppet show, you can really work on transferring individual and classroom behavior through puppetry. And this brings us back to the heart. We got to have a heart. I think we're learning this right now, don't you think, in a way that wasn't available to us, say, even 10 years ago. To realize we really have to open up our hearts to other people. And I really feel that this is our movement, is to really learn what it means to be a heartful world. And if we are not heartful in our schools, where we send our lovely children every single day, and I have to go back to me, where every day I felt bad about myself. Every single day of my life that I was in school, I felt bad. I felt stupid. And did that help me? It didn't help me. What I want to say about one thing that does help is to turn those children, help them find what they're interested in, which is their jewel inside them. You have to believe. You have to believe that people have something inside them to give. And I do believe that. I believe there has to be a reason for our existence. There's a reason we're here. For each one of you, and for me, and for all children, there's a reason, but it gets buried under all the problems and all the issues. But in particular, I feel it gets buried in our schools. It gets buried. So if we, it doesn't mean you have to be dumber. I'm going to teach physics through puppetry. Well, I feel everybody should learn physics. I never got to learn physics because I couldn't learn division. I couldn't learn division, so were they going to let me think of higher? My mind is perfect for higher mathematics. I have a perfect mind for higher mathematics, but I can't line up a division problem to get it right. So I was stuck thinking as small as they decided I was going to think.
That's amazing.
So,
that's just,
you know, so
wait, I want to bring Shelley and Catherine and Mary Beth into this little discussion. So you guys,
let's bring them in.
What's your opinion of what's going on here? Because, you know, we don't have puppetry as a general rule. It's not a common art form, correct?
I love the fact that you can use the puppets. The puppets can have fun and be wrong, and the kids can enjoy watching the process instead of watching and feeling the pain and the angst of some other child being wrong. They can watch the puppet, enjoy discovery, and how it really brings light and bliss back into the natural state of what children are. Even adults, you know, it's not comfortable being wrong. I mean, you kind of develop a taste for it and find that it's okay after a while. But initially, even you know, just to be able to deliver light into this transformation and then direct it to whatever the learning needs to take place. I think that's absolutely so beautiful. I really, really want to help you bring this into the school systems immediately.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And on the flip side of that, I like the idea of the child using the puppet to actually express things that they're not comfortable expressing through themselves. They could do it through the words and the movement of a puppet and make it be external from themselves. And I think that is really probably a great connection for children to get their true thoughts and fears out.
Just want to add to this because last time I talked about ventriloquism in teens and how you can find out a lot about teens and allow them to express through ventriloquism. Oh, I just want to add this one thing. You know that $5,000 an hour? I fibbed. It's really $5,000 for 20 minutes. And it's basically taking a ventriloquist figure, learning ventriloquism, and writing a humorous skit using top business principles for Fortune 500 companies, because they always use entertainment between their acts. So what I'm saying is that even teens, it's not just children. It's very important to realize that my main audience was teenagers. Yeah, teenagers and youth. But you're right. It's a very great, and to listen to it, you learn a lot. Maybe somebody would have learned something about me if they didn't just look at my writing. Maybe they would have learned, well, and in fact, that's exactly, I got into communication, speech communication, and I won first place out of 10,000 people in a speech contest when I was 17. I thought I was dumb before that, and I thought, how can I be dumb and win over 10,000 people, be number one and speaking in California's legislators? So, you know, you can find out things that you can't find out through kids writing. You're right. You're very right.
And Penelope, I'm sure this is something you've probably thought of, but couldn't puppets also be used to help traumatize children, to actually reveal, you know, something about their trauma, how they feel, or even what is happening? Couldn't a puppet be the person instead of them, or some kind of therapeutic use for them?
Many not enough, but many therapists do use puppetry even to this day. It's kind of a specialty field of using puppets for therapy.
The puppet becomes a surrogate for so many different functions, the way, for learning, for expressing, for not having to be wrong, or it's okay to be wrong, because that leads you to ask another question. And I just think that's a beautiful aspect of this, how the puppet takes that role.
Yes, I think we really have to expand our vision of what puppetry can actually do, and to understand that through puppetry, I do a 3-hour marionette and shadow puppet show, and it's on an Indian epic called the Ramayana, and I've done it, performed in India at temples here, and meaning there's a lot of, and I have to have lighting, sound, there's a lot of elements involved in moving from shadow puppet shows. The shadows are the gods, and then back. I do a one-woman show, 30 characters.
That's amazing.
Okay, I'm not bragging about that, but it's work.
Have you
it's
ever
a lot
done
of
a video? Is that on tape anywhere?
No, that's the problem. I go and perform by myself, and I don't have anybody to videotape it, so I haven't really got a video of it.
Do you realize what a remarkable achievement that is for someone who was told, was never given any positive reinforcement, and with a dyslexic?
She is, I'm telling you guys, this woman is totally amazing.
I don't think a regular person could do that. But yeah, that's got to be put on tape. Absolutely.
Yeah, we got to figure out how to do this.
Yeah, that is a challenge, because marionettes, they're on. You have to have a stage, really, to see them well. So I can't put my camera up and not, just take my own picture. So anyway, that's something to do. But the point is, I have had my students and write just really wonderful shows that have positive messages, that they end up as if you saw the last, I hope you went to the first circle, and I did the one that the students wrote about girls, that Snoop Snaky Snake song, but many others that they wrote plays that talked about that they wrote together that really had positive messages. I have really a wonderful one that was about the boy that was fighting the dragon, and it ends up, I'm encouraging positive stuff, but it ended up that the dragon, the reason that he was attacking is that they were attacking him. They attacked him first, and he thought that they were trying to kill him, so he was responding to them. So through the process, the little boy, I forgot what his name was, Jack or something, he finds out, and then they can become friends. And they wrote this story. This was in that residential school that I worked in, where which was the top violent kids. Although they didn't outdo Jaylene. Jaylene was I have to just add one thing about that class, and this was a very good thing. They were like, keeping them together was like a bunch of kittens that had long talons, and they were just running out of the classroom. So I decided, well, they don't look normal. They don't look normal to themselves, because they really were acting out like every 3 minutes. They were it was called SED, severely, you're not supposed to label, but they were severely emotionally disturbed. So I decided, well, they need to look normal. So I wrote my first puppet show for them, my first long one. And it was called The Grass is Green. And it was more of a farm animal character song. So I had them be all the characters. And over the summer, this was in summer school, we produced this show, this farm animal show. And every time they acted up, we stopped the camera. And so it took 6 months. 6 months to do this whole show because they acted up. But I told you I had them for 2 years. We played that 100 times, and they saw how cute they were, how normal they looked, and it was very instrumental in transforming their behavior because they saw what they could be, what they could. So anyway, you can see I'm a puppet advocate.
I love it. Well, this has been really great. I think we've probably used up our time. Do any of you want to make a closing comment, ladies?
I'm just so happy that you're doing this. And I think, that I hope this catches on. I think it's a wonderful way to interact with people of all ages and to get many messages across. So thanks, Penelope.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. You're not just a puppet advocate. You are so much more. Child advocate.
Yes, I am a child advocate. True.
Wellness advocate. Thank you, Penelope.
Yeah.
This last example that you gave us just really speaks to the transformative power of this process that you took these kids through. And, the psychiatrists and the psychologists have got nothing on you.
No, for sure. Well, I think we should end this by saying thank you, Penelope, puppeteer, author, photographer, singer, songwriter, educator, and shrink extraordinaire. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll have you back again, I'm sure.